Hey everybody, welcome back to It Came From GenX. I am Keith Porter along with Bryant, Michael, known as Porterhouse, Skin Bone, and Fishbone. And we are glad to be back. We missed you guys last week. We hope you enjoyed the best of segment. And I want to start off by thanking our producer, the boss man, Michael Skinner Jr., for the work he did putting that together. Unfortunately, we had a tragic day, which we're going to get into right away. And before we do that, we're going to say hello to Fisher. Let him tell you where you can find the show.
All right, everybody. You might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull up their site, play Listen Now, and you can hear us there. Also, there are other fine content with podcasts and great music and all that stuff there. You can listen to us whenever you want to on demand. We're on many podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Verbal, Overcast, and more. Just pull up a platform and subscribe. And as we publish new episodes, they'll flow into your feed for you free of charge. You can also listen to us right on our Facebook page at It Came From GenX on Facebook. Give our page a like, and there's a section of our page where you can subscribe to our podcast right there and listen to us right on Facebook. All links to social media, our YouTube channel, It Came From GenX, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Two main places, our Linktree account. Simply Google Linktree. It Came From GenX, and it's simply a platform to all of our links. Very simple. And our website, It Came From GenX, one word, .wordpress.com. All show information there, promos, links to episodes, links to where you can listen to us, video, links to our YouTube channel videos. All that good stuff is there on our website. Go check us out there if anywhere else. And if you wish to support the show, our Patreon account is there's a link on our website as well. If you like our stuff, give us a listen, a subscribe, a rating, review, tell a friend. We appreciate your support out there. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Fish. Now, you guys, if you listen to the show, you normally hear us go into our week or our weekend and reminisce, but we got a lot of stuff to go over today, so we're going to get right to it. My man Skinner. Take it away, baby.
All right. Got a couple things for world news. Before I do so, I wanted to wish everybody a happy Easter this past Sunday.
Absolutely.
I have a very special announcement and a very special happy birthday. I know Fish is going to go over a lot of pop culture in this day in pop culture, but my better half, also known as Miss Marcy, my rock, my reason for living, I should say, besides my children, her birthday's tomorrow. So I want to wish her publicly a happy birthday prior to tomorrow.
Happy birthday. I got to correct you though. You said better half. That? I had it more at 3/4. I don't know what Fisher has, but
some would say probably 7/8. But
I think you need to redo that. But whatever.
Yep.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff that happened on her birthday and Fish will go over that with time permitting. But anyways, real quick, I wanted to do an update. We did a episode segment and we talked about inflation, especially with the reference to the pandemic. Numbers are out for March of 2022 and they're staggering. Inflation is up 8.5% since March of 2021. That is the highest increase in 1 year since 1981. The indexes for this is up because of gasoline prices. Let's see, 18.3% in March. Eating out and groceries are up to from 1% to 1.5% inflation. So overall, the inflation index is 8.5% increase from just 12 months ago when we were in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow.
You're shaking your head. You're shaking your head in dismay. I know.
Yeah, it's staggering when you hear the numbers. I'm sure everybody has felt it, in the stores and whatnot. And the only thing I can say is this. We've had so many things go up. It happens throughout life all the time. You look what people are paying for things now versus to what we paid when we were 20 years old or whatever. We adjust it.
Mm-hmm.
We adjust it. And that's what we're going to do again. That's the best advice I can give besides people stressing themselves, especially over things that you don't have any power to do anything about. You just have to adjust. And that's called surviving. So that's really my only comment on that. We live in some pretty icky times right now, and those with a strong mind will survive, and those that are frightful, those that are skittish, are going to have a hard time. So the more you can adjust and just deal with it, and it is what it is. And I know that's sugarcoated. I know it's going to cause problems for some people. I know the fuel costs cause problems for some people. I don't want to skid over that and make it like, oh, well, it is what it is. But I'm just saying, we will adjust. We will survive. Fish?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to add than that. I mean, you're right. It's a little tough right now all over. I mean, I've noticed that just my normal grocery run, it's a solid $25 more. Just when I go. That's just what it is to get the same amount of stuff that I was prior. Or obviously you can cut back, but you're right. We just adjust. Hope that some of these actions that people are taking will help the fuel costs. Obviously, we're living through a war, trying to cut off Russia's oil.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic, everything else. There's a lot of factors here.
A lot of factors.
Yeah. So,
and I'll say this too. One thing I know, this is America, man. When you start talking about, things going up, especially when you talk about food or whatever, we are the kings of waste.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's not a single person that can't evaluate themselves and see where they are wasting and compensate for some of the inflation. So just a little word of advice on that.
Absolutely. The word adjustment you use is a great terminology for this, because you're right. When we were younger, we remember the price of gas when we were 19, 20, 21 years old. I was in the military. I was filling up a tank of gas at 87 cents a gallon.
Yeah, I remember when it went to $1.17, people lost their minds.
Yeah, we lost our mind when it went over into the dollar mark. So, and then it went into $2 and $3, and we almost saw $5 here in Northeast Ohio, which we were very damn close. But California, New Jersey, New York, Washington, they all saw those states saw it. But we were lucky to stay under the $5 mark. But no, folks, hang in there.
California, though, there's a place where I can understand people who drive. I know the commute, a 15-minute commute is an hour or something. Mm-hmm. A lot of sitting, a lot of fuel burning. I can get where it would really hurt people like that. So I don't want to be insensitive to some people's plight.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. So real quick, another subject matter, Elon Musk is back in the news today. This time it's not for SpaceX or for Tesla. I don't know if you guys heard, but he may have put a bid in to purchase the company Twitter. He has offered a $43 billion bid for a company that's worth $33 billion. Another staggering set of numbers. 2 months ago, he purchased 9.1% of the shares for the company. And everybody knew then that this wasn't the end of it. So this past weekend, offered a $43 billion bid. The company's shares are worth $33 billion. So he's offered $10 billion over share price, and the board members are losing their minds because of this. Have you guys heard this story?
I have. Go ahead, Keith.
Oh, go ahead, buddy.
As I said, I don't know the details behind it, but I saw they're going to. It's some type of a quote unquote poison pill tactic that they're trying to take to try to prohibit him from prohibit him from taking it. So yeah, his thing is he wants to make it more of a free speech platform again or something along that line. I don't know.
Change the algorithms. Yeah, able to go in. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he's wanting to be able. You got 146 characters or 145 characters, and once you hit send, it's there. It's done. You can't go back and edit like you can on Facebook or any of those other ones. He wants you to be able to go in and update or fix something you possibly said, and change the algorithms so that free speech would be more prevalent. Go ahead, Fish. Sorry.
That's all. We were offered, by the way, by Elon Musk, $430 for this particular podcast, and we have stood firm.
He
turning him down.
He's only offering 200 now.
Doggone it. Oh well.
So Keith gave him the poison pill and showed him his belly, and that's all it took.
All I can say is about this story is half the word Twitter comes from twit. Enough shit. All I got to say, man.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Skinner.
No problem.
All right. Look, those of you listening, we're gonna just apologize ahead of time. The next part of the show might get a little deep. I might bring up some rough memories for some of you, but we felt that we would be remiss if we did not talk about this. Last Monday, the reason why we weren't doing the show is my mother suddenly passed away Monday morning. And please forgive me if I get emotional talking about this. It has been the most trying and painful week in my life. And one of the reasons we're talking about this, Fisher texted me the other day. Wanted to see how I was doing, and he basically also wanted to mention that we didn't have to talk about anything personal on this show. And I know he was trying to protect me, and I told him, we don't shy away from anything, and being who we are is going to be the strength of the show, and dealing with life is going to be the strength of the show. And he agreed with me, and Skinner agreed with me. And I know these two guys understand where I'm coming from. Fisher losing his father some years ago. I watched Skinner's Payne up close just a few years ago when I had the honor and privilege of doing his mother's eulogy. So we're not estranged from this. We have that in common. So I've been overwhelmed with the outpouring of love, messages, phone calls, emails, money. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. And I'm truly, truly grateful. For those of you that know me, my favorite name to be called is Mama's Boy, because that's what I was, and proudly. I moved in with my mom 6 years ago to take care of her for a year, put my house in storage. I paid a storage bill for 4 years because I never moved out, and I told her I wouldn't move out for as long as it took, not knowing I would be here as long as I was. Pretty much gave up my life to take care of her and was proud to do it, and would do it again in a heartbeat. Well, we are Gen Xers. We are at the age where all of us, or at least a lot of us, are going to start losing parents. It is the hardest thing in the world to fathom. When I thought about it, I shuddered over the last few years. The fact that it has happened, I am devastated. But a lot of you have gone through it and are going to go through it. And we thought that we could talk about that because it's important to who we are at our age. And we don't want to bring the show down. Like we said, we're not going to shy away from it. So before we kind of pivot into another part of this story, I just get some thoughts from you, Skinner. No, you lost your mother a few years ago, like we said, and you want to talk about how you dealt with that over the years.
Yeah, it's and Mike Jr. I apologize because I know he's going to have a tough time editing this show
sure.
because and I appreciate he was the one that actually had made mention that we should do this. So for a millennial, 27, going to be 28. Yeah, 28.
It's a lot of character.
Yeah, no, he's going to be 29 years old. So the character that he's showing saying, hey, Dad, hey, Uncle Keith, Uncle Brian, you guys should probably talk about this. It would be therapeutic. So I want to thank him, first of all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we lost my mother on her birthday of all days to lose a parent on December 10th, 2015. And, well, we were prepared, but we weren't prepared. My mom was on dialysis she came down sick in 2005, lost her kidneys function. One of them, 5 years later, that had a little bit of function, was laced with cancer. And they took that one out, so she had absolutely no kidney function whatsoever in her body. And she defied all odds. Usually when you have dialysis, and the way she did it, because she had a blood disorder and vein issues, they couldn't put a fistula in her arm in order to be able to plug into, in order to pull her blood out, clean it, and put it back in, for a better terminology. So she had one that was in her chest. And when you have that, you're only supposed to live about 5 to 6 years. My mother almost made it 11 years. So what she taught my girls at a very young age is how to fight. Not fight as in fist fight, but how to fight for your life, fight for what you believe in, fight for what you want to do. And my children, specifically my girls, they still to this day, when they talk about my mom, they talk about her fight, her will to live, her will to stay as the rock in her family. And I think you can say the same thing with your mom, Keith.
Absolutely.
She was that rock.
Absolutely.
As far as dealing with it real
about
quick,
your girls. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say real quick about your girls. I remember at the funeral home, I don't know if you recall, but I took all of your children one by one into a room and asked them what you remember most about her. And to a one, they mentioned that. And you're absolutely right. I have siblings in California, been there for over 30 years or more. And I have 2 siblings here, 2 in California. And for some reason, they seem to think that they owe us something for towing the line, taking care of my mom. I was here rubbing her back, rubbing her legs, taking her all her doctor, and they think that we owe some kind of thank you for that or whatever. And they don't understand. I'm not owed to thank you. That was an honor and that was a privilege. You missed out on that. But what you didn't have to see was watching her suffer every day.
Mm-hmm.
And watching her fight every day. She passed out in church on Sunday. Just Saturday, the day before that, I had to stop her from sweeping. She never, ever gave up and never stopped living. So you're absolutely right. Go ahead.
Yep. So as far as trying to deal with the subject, you're never going to be okay with it. It's been 6 years for me. I know Fisher's going to talk here. It's been 10 years. Unbelievable. It's been 10 years since his dad passed. I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah. Somebody said to me today, time heals all wounds. I said, this ain't gonna never
bullshit.
heal. That ain't gonna never heal. I got a friend lost her mother 30 years ago, and she told me it ain't never healed.
I don't like to curse on this show, but that's utter bullshit. Time does not heal anything. It helps you cope, but it does not heal anything. And Fisher can attest to this when he talks about it. But yeah, time, they say, yeah, man, all you can do is remember all the good, and you're going to remember some of the bad. my mom wasn't a perfect mother. She made mistakes, and you know what? She grew from those, and she was able to teach us how to grow from making mistakes. But
Right.
out of everything, I remember everything she did for me, and I'm going to start crying over this.
Okay,
But
it's okay. Listen,
it's okay.
I'm
I
not
got to say
trying
one
to
more
heal.
thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I got to say one more thing, and then I'm going to pass it on over. There was times that I felt guilty that my mother's love was so strong. With the mistakes that I made as an adult and my kids, the mistakes I made with my kids during a period of time that we consider dark time or our black time. But my mother was there every single time. And that's the things you remember. She didn't have to be there, and she was the one that says, "You're still a good kid. You're still a good son and a
You
good
got that right.
father. You just got to turn it around." And I'll always remember that.
Amen, brother. Well said. I had a dark time myself. Those of you that know, 20 years ago, drugs, the whole 9 yards, and she never gave up on me. And I'm proud to say that I've served under her 10 years as a minister and 7 years as her assistant pastor, and I'm really proud of that. And Skinner, just like she never gave up on you, you don't give up on your kids. So that's called legacy, something she passed down to you.
Yep.
So I want to say real quick, and I'm going to go to Fish. I'm not looking for a wound to heal, but I know over time my perspective is going to change, because you can look at the same thing, but depending on your perspective. And the first few days, it was, God, why'd you take my mom away from me? And now I'm thinking, my mom was 87. I'm 53 years old, which means I've had this beautiful woman for 53 years, and I didn't deserve her for one. So I was a blessed man. So Fish,
Yeah. Yeah, I like Scotty mentioned, it'll in Memorial Day weekend. It'll be 10 years. I lost my dad. My mom is still with me. Yeah, it was a very traumatic experience. It was, mom pulled in the driveway and said, "Your dad has passed out. Call 911." And he had passed out in the car where they were just running errands.
Wow.
And they try to resuscitate him in the driveway, and I had to make the decision at the hospital to pull the plug, because it was either just basically keep him alive, not really alive,
That's the hard part.
Yeah. So that was very that's haunting, certainly. But yeah, 10 years later, it's like you say, it never really goes away, the loss of a parent. But like you say, you just kind of, like you guys have already said, you just kind of learn to cope, and you remember the impact that they had on you, and it makes me reflect on, someday, I know you guys feel the same way about your kids, someday that's if there's anything in life that we did that was any good, it would be that we made a positive impression on those around us.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, and especially our kids, hopefully that will try to do better than us in their lives. And he definitely made that impact on me. You never stop missing him, obviously. I mean, I would love to be able to pick up the phone and talk to Dad to say, how are you? And are you proud of me and stuff? And so, yeah, I don't know. It's a very difficult thing, but
I lost my dad almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's a mixture of, I think of things and I crack up laughing, and then I think of things and I cry.
Yeah.
This is different. This is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, just I guess because of the closeness to my mom. But even with that being said, yesterday I couldn't go sit with the family for Easter. I just couldn't do it. But my son came to town, him and his girlfriend, and my sister Pam. We had dinner together, and we ended up just cracking up laughing. He was sharing the thought that he remembered about his granny. My mom, I've tried so hard the last 10 years to bring her into the electronic age. She ended up getting the tablet, the laptop, and whatever, and she had an iPad. And I was trying to teach her to preach on Sundays from it. Use the Bible app on there, and I told her she could use a stylus pen. And here my mom was standing up in front of everybody with an ink pen, just hitting this iPad. And everybody just heard this glass going clink, 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 like, Mom, stop it. So it's been, it wasn't even a week yet, and we were sharing a laugh about her, and I imagine it'll always be that way. So
yeah,
yes.
So thank you. I appreciate you guys for sharing, opening up that part of you. It's a painful part, and that's what we feel about our audience. We want to share everything that's going on in our lives with you. That's why when we start the show off, we always talk about, hey guys, what was your weekend? What'd you do? We talk about family and then the girls that are in our life that we love and things like that. So appreciate it very much.
I want to tell one more quick story.
Sure.
About my mother being you used to talk about being a mama's boy. I was a mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
I was a grandma's boy. My grandmother, Taylor, my mom's mom. But I tell you what, those two women carved the way for me, I guess. I always ask myself, why do I have 4 girls, 4 biological girls and 1 son, my son being the oldest. And then I get with Marcy and she's got 3 daughters. So there's, out of 8 kids, there's 7 girls. But I was 16 years old driving, getting my license. And my mom was in my car. I had a 74 Monte Carlo driving to work. And my mom was in the passenger seat. And I got pulled over at the corner of Hopkinton and Worcester Road there in Barberton.
Sure.
At the time, there was a McDonald's on the corner there and where Parsons is and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I crossed this intersection. It was yellow. And I got through it before it turned red. And I got pulled over by a cop. And my mother sat in that passenger seat and chewed this guy up and down like he was just some Joe Schmo off the street. He was a kind of a young punk cop, and I'm a young kid, 16 years old, with a big hot rod, 74 Monte Carlo. So I get it. But I had to look at my mom.
She chewed the cop out?
Oh, she called him everything but a white man. I mean,
it's good to be white.
Oh my goodness. She was... She's like, you're picking on my son because he's a young white kid, or he shouldn't use the term like white kid, but some young kid trying to get his license, has a nice car, and you're picking on my son. And I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, if you don't shut the F up, you're going to be hauled off to jail and I got to come get you out. And then Dad's really going to be mad. So I had to restrain my mom from chewing out this cop because he pulled me over. And that was just the kind of person that she was. But then you get into another section and she was just the most softest spoken, caring, loving, the rock of our family. But
stories I can never tell. Okay, guys. I thought, I normally cover sports and music, and I thought to kind of keep the show in the vein that we do it in, with what we just shared. I picked either at sports or music, and I went with sports to talk about. We lost quite a few athletes over the years, and I thought we would quickly mention one or more athletes that have passed away in the last few years that may have impacted you the most over the years, and why. I have 3 that I want to mention real quick. The first one was Pat Tillman. Now, I never knew of Pat Tillman before he died, but it's because of how and why he died that it impacted me so hard. The character of this man to say, you know what, I'm going to pass on doing this sport that I love. I'm going to pass on making millions of dollars a year, and I'm going to go defend my country. And he lost his life for that decision. That did something to me. The strength of character that took stuck with me for years, and it still sticks with me. The second one was Dale Earnhardt Sr. My mom passed out in church on Sunday. She passed out in what she loved doing the most. And this man died on the track doing what he loved doing the most. I'm not the biggest NASCAR fan, but I was really, really impacted by that when that happened. And of course, number one was Kobe Bryant. I grew up with Kobe Bryant. My godson's name's Kobe. He was part of my basketball life. You know what I'm saying? He came into the league out of high school. I admire his work ethic, the way that he thought, the way that he went about things. The fact that he would get out of practice and go home and rest and practice again instead of going to nightclubs. Somebody who dedicated his life to his craft, and to see how he was as a father raising these girls kind of remind me of you, Skinner. And his life after basketball wasn't, I'm depressed because I can't play anymore. He was so excited about the things he was doing. He won an Oscar for crying out loud. Yeah. Yep. He was pushing his daughter Gigi's career, who she was going to be a phenomenal player. She already had her spot at UConn ready to go. And he was just somebody that's been a part of me for so long. That one hurt really hard. So those are three that I have. Fish?
Yeah, a couple that come to mind. All the teams I followed over the years. The Boston Celtics was one of my favorite, not one of, but my favorite basketball team growing up. And all those guys are still around, except Dennis Johnston that passed away some years ago, and he was certainly just an integral part of that team. I don't remember how he passed. I think he was ill or something, but I just remember that was one of my first, this is a guy I watched a ton growing up who is just gone, and that definitely made me reflect on that. And another one that kind of hit me was Junior Seau of the Chargers.
Yeah.
Just an all-pro linebacker, seemed to be I don't know, he was always smiling off the field, and he was just such a force watching him play. And then the poor man committed suicide, and it looked like in part because of all the brain trauma that he suffered over the years. And I think after his death, if he left something beyond certainly the impact that he on the game, that is, certainly his family's a whole different thing. But when they lost him, I think the NFL really, him and some other players, they really took the head injury a lot more serious and changed rules and tried to help the protection of the athletes and so forth to try to prevent, hopefully, more of that type of unfortunate event from happening in the future.
And then they went and added an extra game.
Yeah, on top of that, So, I don't know. And then Kobe's certainly number one. I mean, as far as just the impact in a sport, one of the best players to ever play the game. If you're talking about, Mount Rushmore of all-time NBA greats, Kobe is definitely, at the very least, in the conversation. And to have him taken out so abruptly with the tragedy of his young daughter at the same time was just such a terrible, terrible thing in our lifetime. And
of course, the Seau thing, being suicide, was awful. But also, when the Kobe thing hurt me, when you think about this helicopter going down and this man staring at his daughter, it gripped me. God, it just gripped me.
Yeah, terrible.
Thank you, Fish. Skinner?
Sure.
Yeah, you guys kind of stole some of my thunder, but that's okay because I got some other ones that we could talk about.
You don't have any thunder. That's a low rumble.
And I'm really surprised you take Dale Earnhardt Sr. because that was the first person that came to mind when you asked us to come with us, because I was watching that on television the day it happened back in 2000. I don't know if you guys know this, because I know I'm the baseball fan or fanatic of the three of us. Jose Fernandez was a pitcher for Miami Marlins.
Oh, yeah.
He was 24 years old back in 2013. He was a two-time All-Star, and he was the reigning Rookie of the Year in 2013. And he and two buddies decided that they were larger than life and was out motoring out in the ocean in Miami with cocaine in their system, and toxicology report showed that they were drunk, and they ran into some rocks and they killed themselves.
That's terrible.
I remember when it happened. It's like tragic. It was tragic, and then became a very quick learning experience for anybody of his age, any of his stature. That no amount of money it makes you indestructible or invincible as a superhero would be. A lot of people look at athletes and musicians as these superheroes that get capes and that they're invincible. And we all know that is so far from the truth. So that was kind of a story that came about. That no matter how young you are, no matter how famous you are, you're not indestructible, and you're certainly not.
Right.
Not above.
And because of time, we could only name one or two or a few. But going along with what you said, I mean, you think back to people like Lenny Bias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was terrible. Yes, that's right.
So this list could go on and on and on if we didn't have to get to fish. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They're people. They're just people. Okay.
One other one I wanted to do real quick is the golfer Payne Stewart. You guys know?
Oh,
you guys know that
good
name?
one. Good one.
He was the knicker. He wore the knickers, and the man was absolutely adored in the golf world. And he was
great one.
He lost his life in an airplane accident that I can't remember he was just aboard a flight going from Orlando to Texas to start a tournament, and the plane went down, and unfortunately we lost him too soon. But that's another one that just adored.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's a class act. Far as golfers, he's somebody that I really, really admire. And I want to give a one too real quick to mention too. I don't know if you guys remember Guyon Buford. That was one of the astronauts killed when the shuttle blew up. That one was really hard, and he had said to his wife, "If I don't come back, I've just gone up a little higher." That one really hit me. I was young when that happened, so okay.
Oh wow!
All right, guys, thank you. That was great. The only birthday I want to mention in this day in music that I thought was worth mentioning was Clyde Stubblefield. Clyde Stubblefield was the drummer for the great James Brown. His rhythm patterns still sample one of the most sampled music segments today. Public Enemy, Run DMC, NWA, LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, everybody sampled his drum patterns, and I teach that pattern in my music classes, and life of me can't think of what it's called right now. But it has a name. But it was James Brown's way of starting the beat back on count one, and it's brilliant. I can't believe my mind is going blank on this drum pattern. But Clyde Stubblefield was engineer. He did things on the drums, as far as funk is concerned, nobody had ever even thought of before. So, with that being said, Fish, take it away, brother.
All right, we're going to talk about one more passing. We're going to lighten the subject matter here. So, Liz Sheridan. That's the reason I'm wearing my Seinfeld shirt today. So, Liz Sheridan played Jerry Seinfeld's mother on Seinfeld. She was on there. She was in 21 episodes between 1990 and 1998. Played Helen Seinfeld. And the irony there is, we talked about her recently as well. Estelle Harris passed away recently, who played George Costanza's mother.
Wow.
Both ladies were 93 years of age. Liz Sheridan was just after her 93rd birthday. Passed away in her sleep. Natural causes at 2:30 a.m. Sunday morning. I think it was Sunday morning. But, just recently, excuse me. So, anyway, she was the last of the Seinfeld parent actors to pass away. So I don't know. All the parents, we talked about Estelle Harris recently. All the parents in Seinfeld were terrific in their own way. But Jerry's mom was, I don't know. She was just great in that role.
Yes, she is.
I don't know. So very entertaining, great actress, definitely be missed. So I know we're all Seinfeld fans. Skinner, any thoughts on Ms. Sheridan?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All the parents, they were just phenomenal at their roles. I saw her in something else, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell it was that I had seen her in. She was in Empty Nest. I don't know if you guys remember that. She was also in Moonlighting. Before she went into Seinfeld as an apparent. But she, I'm trying how to say it. You could tell she was, with the way she acted, the way she portrayed the character. You could tell she was Jerry Seinfeld's mom. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
She played the part so well. You believed watching the show that she was actually his biological mother. That's the best way to explain it. That's how good she was. And Estelle, same thing with Costanza's mom. She was just perfect for the roles. They couldn't have casted those two women any better.
Can't say any more than what he said, man. I loved her in that role. She was just great.
Yeah, I didn't know this either. But as a young dancer years ago, she had a relationship with James Dean, and she wrote a book about that, which was also well known. So, yeah, how about that?
Huh?
Yep. Okay, so on lighter stuff, just a couple of things in the current stuff in pop culture news. Batman. We had a whole episode on the Batman. It is now streaming on HBO Max as of today, April the 18th. So if you have not seen that out there yet and you have HBO Max, go check that out. And if you don't have HBO Max, it's a good opportunity to get it, to check out that movie. And they have some very good original content we talked about over time as well, with the Peacemaker and the DC movies and Winning Time, the Lakers show, which is terrific. There's a new Doctor Strange trailer out there that's dropped. So that movie Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness will open up May the 6th. So the last trailer, very interesting, features Wanda a lot more. I'm really looking forward to that movie. I know you guys are as well. I watched a new movie last evening on Netflix. I know you guys will enjoy Metal Lords. Okay.
Watched it.
Did you? Okay.
Yes.
I thought it was terrific.
I loved it. I was just sampling through it, Netflix, and came across that and said, wait a minute, this is going to take me back to my childhood. I loved it.
I thought for a second there, are they setting this movie in the 80s because the lead character is a kid in high school who's a metal fanatic?
I played with that kid.
You played with that kid?
I played with somebody just like him as well.
I got you. But no, he's just simply a fan of classic 80s metal. He wears nothing but 80s metal T-shirts, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Slayer, etc. And he's such a fan, and his logic is we're going to create a metal band, and we're going to kind of rule the world. We're going to win this battle of the band. So the plot is so simple. It's like an hour and a half movie, which is a great length for this thing. And he recruits his best friend to play drums. This kid's a guitar player, and they recruit a girl to come in and play cello into the band.
He even pays for the drums.
Yeah. So just, if you're an 80s, we're all metal fans. We talked about that on prior episodes. So if you are an 80s metal fan, just for the soundtrack and the T-shirts and the posters and everything this kid has in his room alone, it's definitely worth a view. But I thought the story was fun. Yeah, haircut was great.
His attitude, it'll just take you back. It was really nostalgic. I thought it was great. I played with a kid just like that. He was just like, mellow. I mean, nothing else mattered, and you better be at band practice. And I don't care who you're dating. Nothing matters. Nothing matters but the metal. And it was more than just music. It was a religion. It was a way of life. And I love this kid. He played that role excellently. I really enjoyed the movie. It just took me back, man, like 30, 40 years. So great Gen X movie.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch it this week.
Yeah, You'll enjoy it for sure, Skinner. Okay, in the world of pop culture news, not a whole lot of relevance, frankly. So I'm looking at this week in pop culture history. We definitely had a lot of iconic events that we will remember growing up and otherwise here. So today is April the 18th. I mentioned no more death, but actually one more we should mention. This day in 2012, Dick Clark passed away. So Dick Clark obviously was he was, and we all know who Dick Clark was, certainly in our generation. Yeah, it definitely was, right? He certainly made a name for himself on American Bandstand. He was really, and in the 80s, he started doing the bloopers and practical jokes television show with Ed McMahon, which was a lot of fun. Then certainly he did the New Year's Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve, which is still called Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve to this day. I mean, the guy was just absolutely instrumental in the advancement of rock and roll music on American Bandstand, and he featured
pop music as well. A lot of pop.
Yeah, exactly.
He launched Madonna. Did. You know.
Yeah.
He launched Prince. Man, I mean, this goes on and on and on, man. It's ridiculous what he did. I thought I would love to know what this guy was like off the camera, because I thought he had one of the most outstanding personalities on camera.
Yes. And
the older he got, he stayed that youthful, exuberant kid.
He never changed.
Who didn't like Dick Clark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a quick story. My cousin, Nicky Taylor, he's on my mom's side. He's 53, 54 years old. So he's in our group. He's older than me. Autistic. Never was. He's an autistic. Back when we were kids, there was no such thing as autism. But we knew something was not quite right. And he used to get picked on all the time. But my cousin, Nicky, would sit on Sunday mornings from 9 a.m. until noon and jot down number 40 to number 1 on Dick Clark's countdown every single week. And he had these in such detail in a 3-ring binder, and he could go back 10 years and tell you what was number 1 on such and such date. But that was his connection to Dick Clark, is he would sit there every Sunday morning. And that's something that I would remember, is Dick Clark on Sunday mornings doing the countdown. And back then it was not just pop or R&B or metal. It was all the genres, except for country. They were excluded. But that countdown was an important thing for a lot of people in their lives.
I like the countdown, and I also like some of the greatest debuts in history were on his show.
Yeah.
He debuted the Jacksons, Can You Feel It? He debuted Prince and some of the other acts too. Hey, real quick before you go on, Fish, I want to say I couldn't pick up the Clyde Stubblefield famous drum beat. It's called the Fatback. A great beat. Drummers, look it up. So sorry about that. Go ahead, Fish.
That's okay. I'll add one more thing about Dick Clark. Terrific game show host, the $25,000 pyramid.
Yeah, that's right.
Dick Clark, man, that was
sure
a.
Would you say Ryan Seacrest is a modern Dick Clark?
No. he's a wannabe, but he will never.
Wannabe. Thank you.
Yeah, there's not many guys that's as beloved as Dick Clark in our lifetime, as far as a pop culture television personality.
No,
exactly. So. And he would make fun of himself too, as being youth, always the youthful. I remember there's that show Police Squad, which spawned the Naked Gun movies. He did a scene where he picked up the secret youth cream or something like that, rubbing it on his. Anyway, just terrific personality. Go ahead, Skinner. One more thing.
Seacrest's demise is when he put the freaking Kardashians on the air. If you ask me.
Yeah, he's a wannabe. Also, this day in 1979, the television show Real People premiered.
Yes.
And this is from thisweekinpopculture.com. So they kind of compare it to, this is before YouTube was a thing. It was a television show about interesting people that you would not probably hear about, because obviously the internet and everything wasn't around yet, of course. And Richard Simmons was featured on Real People, where he kind of got his start here. But I read the names here. I remember these names: John Barber, Sarah Purcell,
Skip.
Byron Allen, Skip Stevenson, Bill Rafferty, Mark Russell, Peter Billingsley, David Ruprecht, and Fred Willard were all featured on the show. I love this show. I remember we were sitting around the television. This is a family night television show. It was just simply a show about interesting people across the country. I thought it was terrific, and it made you learn a lot about just things that some people were into, very unique things that people were doing out there. I thought it was pretty cool. Keith, what do you think about Real People?
I never missed the show. I watched it all the time. The interesting part, it was the prelude to That's Incredible. And I always thought that Real People was the Hilljack version of That's Incredible. You had people on That's Incredible doing all these amazing feats. And then on Real People, you had people doing all these dumb feats, but they were still kind of incredible. So I thought it was a Hilljack version of That's Incredible. But I really enjoyed the show. Watched it all the time.
Yep. Skinner, Real People. Did you watch it?
I'm just now looking it up, and I don't remember it at all. And I see Byron Allen. That name's strung a bell for me. Didn't realize that's probably where he got his start. That man's pretty successful in a lot of things that he's done. There's a show on, I want to say the WB Channel 55.
Talk show for a while.
Yeah, there's 6 comedians, and then it was a game show, and there was another gentleman that was the host, and they would ask a question, and the comedians would give an answer, whether it was right or wrong, and the 2 contestants, I can't remember. Anyway, Byron Allen was the one that did this show.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Can't think of it either.
Yeah. I wish I knew the name, but anyway, it was a good show, funny, and Byron was the one that created that show. He was the director and producer. But yeah, no, I may have to go back and look at Real People. It's saying it's on IMDb or on the Roku channel, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, very entertaining, a lot of fun. Okay, today is a very famous figure's birthday today. Again, April 18th, back in 1938, and he was born from our local area here. He's out of Cleveland, Ohio. He was created. Today is the birthday of Superman, the comic book character. Obviously, we all know the character, and again, very cool thing that his creators were right from our local area, Northeast Ohio. So, I mean, there's a zillion things you could say about Superman but at the very least, certainly one of, if not the most famous comic book superhero character that there is. There's probably not a person out there at any age, if you did not show a picture of Superman to, that they could not identify who that character is. Definitely all over the place in the world of pop culture and movies and comics and television. And I don't know. I used to have my reservation about Superman. Is he too powerful? You can't beat him. They've certainly changed him over the years to make it to where he can be beaten. Heck, he was even killed in the comics for a period of time and had to be reborn and everything. But again, iconic. Keith, thoughts on Superman? Too powerful? Are you a fan or not as much?
I don't think he's too powerful. I think he was the perfect limit. In the world of comic books now, it has gotten so outrageous. We have these godlike creatures now, the One, and things like that. They're like gods or whatever. And it's gotten kind of crazy. I thought he was like the perfect apex of us ultimate superhero. DC, you have Superman, and of course in Marvel you have like your Thor or whatever. So one thing I will add, though, to say something about Superman most people don't know, his strength wasn't muscles. His strength was tactile cognizance. And what I meant by that is whatever he touches, his mind adjusts his body to be able to lift or to conquer. It was his touch that signaled his brain to deal with it. That's why his strength adjusted. The Hulk's strength adjusts as angry as he gets. people don't know Superman's strength adjusts as whatever he touched. I think it's called tactile cognizance or backward, something like that. But it's very, very interesting. And I didn't know this till I watched the comic book special and they pointed it out.
Oh, very good. Interesting.
Yeah.
Skinner, Superman fan, or not as much?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it would be remiss not to mention Christopher Reeves as the Superman on the big screen. May he rest in peace. When he came out and he was Superman, he was king of Hollywood.
Never seen anything like that.
Yeah, he was king of Hollywood. He puts Superman back on the map for anybody that didn't know him when we were kids. And of course, his tragic accident, riding a horse of all things, became paraplegic. And still, even in his state, he still was a person of, what's what I'm looking for? Sorry, I keep doing this today, and it's frustrating, but he helped a lot lot of people, even in this condition, how to deal with
a person of strength, but from
strength. There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't get any better than that.
Got you. Having that same kind of day myself, brother.
Yeah. The one thing about it, one of the interesting things about Superman was he was not from this planet. So it was that I always thought that was kind of cool, though, to where he had to, his disguise was dressing up like a dorky regular guy, a regular reporter, to hide the fact that he was Superman living among us. So, different people pointed that out in comics and everything else. So it's like all these superheroes, their alter ego was the superhero, but he was Superman, and he had to create a weaker alter ego to blend in with the people of the regular Joe Schmoes.
Glasses and a curly Q.
That's right.
Or get rid of the curly Q.
Can't pick them out. Go ahead.
Real quick, my youngest, she surprised me. I don't remember what the premise was. Is that I said, "Hey, who's Clark Kent?" We were walking, and she just looked up to me. She goes, "That's Superman." Never expected her to know who that was, but even a non-comic book girl like Serenity, she knew who Clark Kent was.
That's cool.
Yep. Very good.
I thought that was interesting.
Okay, and this week on April the 21st, way back in 1986, a huge television special for Geraldo Rivera. You might remember the mystery of Al Capone's vault. So this was a live event where Geraldo was really hyping up the fact they found a vault by Al Capone, and it was like there could be all this stuff in the vault, and we're going to go check it out right now on live television, and never opened before.
Oh my God.
Right? And the executives are like, we'll roll the dice. And he goes in the vault, and you might remember. And what did he find?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
You know what? This man's career was never the same after that.
You're right. You're right about that.
Geraldo Rivera got famous. First of all, he was right here in Akron. If you guys remember the Judge James Barbuto scandal, Judge James Barbuto was an Akron judge who they found out, if I'm not mistaken, was selling favors in court for sex and things like that. Also, there were some drugs involved. A man by the name of, he goes by Booby, was somehow involved in this, and he was the uncle of a very, very dear friend of mine. You guys all remember a certain drummer that we played in high school, TB, friend of mine, Tony. Tony's wife, her uncle, Geraldo, was chasing him down Main Street, downtown Akron here, and it made headline news. Then the highlight of his talk show was when he had these skinheads on his show, and the fight broke out. And today we see the stuff like reality TV. It's no big deal, but that was something we had never seen before. And he was at the height of his fame, and he used that height to get everybody on the edge of their seats to go in Al Capone's vaults for 2 hours.
Yes.
And we got nothing, and his career went over a cliff like Thelma and Louise.
Yes. Yes. Right. He's still a personality on, I think is he on Fox now or something
Yeah, he's
like
back
that?
now,
So,
but he had to start doing a lot of serious stuff, and it took him about 20 years to recover from that. His credibility was shot. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Remember that skinheads fight? Remember the guy get the chair thrown and broke his nose.
I can quote every line to that whole thing, man.
Yeah, I still could picture. I could picture it.
I
Yeah,
got no
you're right.
convictions, man.
Yeah, yeah. Man, he called that guy an Uncle Tom or something like that, and that was it.
It was crazy.
That was it.
Yeah,
all right. Skinner, do you recall the Al Capone vault fiasco? Was it a couple years before your time? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I remember it like it was yesterday. I got nothing else that I could add on that. It was such a huge disappointment, and you're absolutely right. He was never the same after that.
All right, one more thing. Speaking of huge disappointments this week in pop culture history, on April 23rd, 1985, the debut of, it is another, you wonder about these geniuses that sit around. It's like, you know what needs to be fixed? One thing that is, we have to tinker with it because it's not something that people really love. They came out with new Coke. So people decided we're going to change the formula of the original Coca-Cola and come out with new Coke. And you might recall at the time, I think it was like Max Headroom was promoting this, like the new Coke. Yes. It was a huge,
very aggravating
advertising campaign, and they wanted to have more of a compete with Pepsi or something at the time, which made zero sense at all because either you liked Coke or Pepsi for the different nuances. Did not last very long, and they quickly had to backpedal and come out with Coca-Cola Classic, you might remember, for a while. So they had new Coke for 10 minutes and then Coca-Cola Classic. And of course, eventually new Coke faded away and they did change it back to Coca-Cola. And it was a huge fiasco for Coca-Cola with marketing and backlash and everything else. So I don't even know if I know I tried new Coke. I don't know. I don't remember it really that much about it other than the huge negative publicity that it received. Keith, do you remember this?
I wasn't like a real Coke drinker. I know I tried it and I didn't care either way, but I just remember the backlash was tremendous. And all I'm going to say is this is how young geniuses in marketing boardrooms lose their jobs.
Sure.
Somebody went, hey, I got it. I got an idea.
What?
And they just lost their job, man. They lost their job because they wanted to make new Coke and just sort of shut up and said, boss, I got nothing today.
The presentation, you think about that. The presentation must have been astounding. For somebody to come in,
it was
and
pressure.
Convince.
The boss was like, anybody got anything new? Johnson, what do you got? Let's change the formula to Coke.
Go continue.
Moral to the story to millennials, Z's. Don't fix what ain't broken.
Exactly.
Just remember that.
Yeah.
If we don't learn anything else from us old folks, don't try to fix
broke,
something
don't
that
fix
ain't
it.
broken.
Hey, I got an idea. Let's change this show. Let's wear pasties.
Oh my God, boy. And I missed this too. It mentions that in 2019, the Stranger Things on Netflix was set in that particular series or season. Excuse me, not series, but season in '85, and they brought back actual new Coke as a promotion. I would have liked to have tried it just for the nostalgia factor, but I think it was very, very difficult to get. Yeah. I've seen Pepsi has come back and they've re-released like Pepsi Clear on special promotions and things like that. So just for the sheer nostalgia would have been interesting. But yeah, not successful at the time. So, but anyway, well, one thing that is successful is getting yourself an electric bike from RPM Bike Shop.
Yes.
The successful family business located in Carrollton, Ohio. Go check them out on Facebook. All the information's there. If you're in the market for a quality electric bike, go check them out on Facebook, RPM Bike Shop. So,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And on that note, we have come to an end, gentlemen, of another episode. Well, Skinner was such in a hurry to go get himself maybe a new Coke or
I
something
don't
like that. He
don't
has
blame him.
he has dropped. Oh, here he is. He's coming back here now. He's coming back on. He had to get his notes.
If he's holding a new Coke, I'm gonna crack up.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, I don't believe what just happened.
If it's you, we believe it.
He was getting his notes, ladies and gentlemen, for yet another flawless outro.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was.
You are just brilliant, baby. You got these outros down, Pat.
Yep.
That was your best one
got...
yet. I'll say this much: that's the best you've looked.
Oh my goodness! I got these new Beats by Dr. Dre, and I went to itch my ear, and I turned it, and it disconnected it.
What a moron!
There you go.
I got to learn how to use these things.
There you go.
No, folks, we appreciate your ears this week. I know it was a tough subject matter. I hope what we have said, what was spoke about, that helps you in your daily life. Keith Porter, keep him and his family in his prayers.
Thank you.
It's going to be a tough finish to the week. I know by the time that you guys hear this, it's going to be Thursday or Friday. So keep them in your prayers. Brother, we love you. And
Thank you.
for Brian Fisher and Keith Porter and Michael Skinner, we're the guys from Gen X. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week.
If your parents are still around, folks, call them, spend time, take advantage.
That's right. And get them upset. Ask them about new Coke.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there you go.
That's right.
Take care.
Stay
Take
strong.
care, folks. And